fellow dreamers. So in this video, I will be going over my redesign for Raspberry Torte for my Strawberry Shortcake versus the Zomberries AU. I will first be going over her personality and her role in the story, and then later on in the video, I will break down her redesign and my thought process as I was designing it for her. Alrighty, let's get into it. So Raspberry Torte's role in the friend group is that of another brawler character, because she just gives very hands-on, feisty fighter vibes to me, so I rolled with it. And later on in the video, you'll see that I even gave her some brass knuckles. Like I said, she's a hands-on fighter, okay? Raspberry Torte likes to fight for what she believes in and fight for those that she loves and wants to protect. So she's very noble in her aspirations of being a brawler. Alrighty, so that's more of her role in the story. Let's get into her personality. Raspberry Torte is an introverted girly. She's very strong and clever, very active and sporty. I mean, I swear this girl, given enough time and enough practice, could probably master just about any physical sport. She's awesome like that. She's very driven and responsible, sensible, loyal, very protective of those she loves and cares about. She's very stoic and hardworking. She's very brutally honest, and she has a very strong sense of justice. But I would say one of her best traits is that she is a very, very good motivation and motivator for her team. So those are some of her personality traits. Let's get into the fun stuff. Her personality flaws. Raspberry Torte can be very overprotective of those that she loves, to where it almost feels like she's suffocating their freedom and being overly bossy, which is not her intention, but if she has to ruffle a few of her team's feathers in order to keep that which she loves safe, she will gladly do so. She has a very pessimistic outlook on life. She's the type of person to be like, yeah, we're all doomed, get over it. She can be very indifferent and closed off, especially at the beginning of the story. Those walls are up. And that's something that over the course of the story, she will be able to soften up and enjoy other people's company and other people in general. She is very competitive. I feel like that goes without saying, but it often leads to her being very tunnel visioned. Like she's so focused on one goal that all the other details don't matter to her, but they should matter because they'll come into play later on and kind of bite her in the butt. This is also where her character, intensity comes from. She brings that intense competitive nature into, almost everything she does, and it definitely intimidates a lot of her friends. And ironically, they don't always feel the safest around her. But I would say more than anything else, Raspberry Torte shoulders way more responsibility than anyone should carry. She really has a problem not only letting people in, but letting people help share that burden of responsibility. She feels like she always has to be protecting everyone, and she has to be highly competitive because that's the only way to win in life, and she takes any failure very, very hard because if she's not strong enough to keep all this up, then everything will crumble down around her and she'll have nothing left. So yeah, again, she's a very intense character, so her flaws and fears are also very intense. But her whole character arc is just learning how to soften up and how to relax a little bit more and have fun and let people in and let people help. You don't lose this game of life if you let people help you win it. And I feel like that is one of the biggest lessons that Raspberry in particular will be learning. So that's her role in the story, her personality traits, her personality flaws. So now it's time to get into her closest relationships within the friend group. I feel like, at least at the beginning of the story, she doesn't have very many close friends, but somehow Strawberry Shortcake is able to initiate a friendship with her. This is probably because Strawberry isn't as intimidated as all the others when it comes to Raspberry Torte, and she just sees her as possible friend. So if she has to jump through all these hoops to become Raspberry Torte's friend, she will jump through all the hoops to become Raspberry Torte's friend. And I would have to say Raspberry Torte's absolute closest relationship has been Lemon Meringue. And if you've seen my Lemon Meringue redesign video, you would know that in my AU, I made Raspberry Torte and Lemon Meringue sisters. And I explained why in Lemon Meringue's video, but suffice to say, Raspberry Torte is Lemon Meringue's older sister. And her relationship with Lemon Meringue is the most important relationship in Raspberry Torte's life. And there she is! I'm so happy with her finished design. I feel like it reflects her personality perfectly. I love it so much. So let's break it down. I took a lot of inspiration from Raspberry Torte's previous designs, as well as a fan art of her. For Raspberry's overall look, I wanted it to be very similar to her early 2000s design. I also wanted to keep her ponytail very similar to that design. And then you can see with both her early 2000s design and her 2010 design, they have like a little raspberry symbol. So I wanted to kind of echo that in my design as well. For her jacket, you'll see that the style heavily resembles the early 2000s version, while like the main body of the jacket is the color of Raspberry's sleeves from her 2010 design. I also got like the cross hatch design on her sweater from the sleeves of her original design, along with her freckles. And her sweatband around her forehead, that was inspired by both her visor and her headband, and the scrunchie in her hair was definitely taken from the early 2000s design of her character, as well as the green I used in her tennis shoes. Now, of course, I had to include the striped socks, but I wanted to make it a little bit more sporty, so I gave her both striped leggings and striped leg warmers. And the colors for the leg warmers and the leggings were heavily inspired by the original design's striped socks and the leggings of her 2010 design. I also took a lot of inspiration from Raspberry's and Raspberry Torte's, so I already called back to her little embroidered raspberry. The bracelet that she wears is also supposed to look a little bit like the bumps on a raspberry, as well as her hair texture. And her necklace and the aglets of her jacket strings are supposed to echo like the leaves of a raspberry, but instead of making the leaves on her jacket green, I changed them to more of a pink color just so that they'd pop against her jacket a little bit better. For her shorts, I wanted them to kind of look like the layers of a Raspberry Torte. So like the little design motifs on her shorts are supposed to kind of look like the frosting and raspberry filling inside a Raspberry Torte. You'll also see that I put a little tiny raspberry on like the heel of her tennis shoe, which I just did for funsies. And then I also tried to incorporate a lot of 80s and 90s styles into her overall design as well. Like the sweatband around her head, the scrunchie, the leg warmers, and leggings under her shorts were all giving me like 80s, like maybe jazzercise vibes. Definitely very retro sportwear. Also, with her bracelet, it's also supposed to echo the style that they wore back then. And her sister Lemon Meringue has a little matching bracelet. And of course, I had to add my own personal touches into her design, such as the Zomberry jam splatter, the colorful band-aids, and her brass knuckles. And yeah, that should just about cover her design. I love it so much. I think it's so adorable and so Raspberry Torte. And I really do feel like it echoes her character in a pleasant way. My next video will be the final redesign of the main cast, Mr. Plum Pudding himself. I think you guys will love his personality and his design, and I'm very excited to show him to you all. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and interest that you've shown for my silly little idea. It really means the world to me. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you love Raspberry Torte's design and personality, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day or night. Bye!